Why do you support Donald Trump?
Really, I think I just support more of the GOP policies, and because they nominated him, I voted for him.
Okay, what policies particularly?
I like bringing more power back to the states, lower the EPA, and actually, I'm a little bit for the tariffs. And I know you were on with Dean the other time, and you were talking about the environment and stuff, and I'm interested in that and the renewable resources. How you say that's the key to the future. I believe. Obviously we can't keep using our natural resources, but I think we're spending a lot of money on the renewables and it's not panning out the correct way.
I think it's actually significantly better. If we actually look at overall, there are cost benefit analysis from like individual regulations through the context of the EPA, and they've actually indicated that only two where costs exceeded benefits. So actually, what is true with all of these different regulations that we're imposing in terms of the environment is that they actually produce more benefit for society overall, whether that be reduction in health costs, whether that be like increasing people's access to specifically, conditions where it's going to be like healthier breathing air, right? Things like that, obviously, which is going to reduce the likelihood of people. Those are all important for specifically the benefits that we have as an overall society. So the costs imposed through the context of the regulation are significantly outweighed by the benefits that we see as our society overall, specifically through the context of the EPA restrictions and regulations. So if you want to gut the EPA to the degree that Trump is advocating for, that actually will lead to a worse off effect for society as a whole. Is it going to be better for companies that are going to profit more off of, polluting more? Yes, they will benefit, they will profit more. But will society profit more? No, we'll actually profit less as a society.
I can agree to the extent of the cuts, but I do think we are overregulated. Um, am I for clean air? Yes. Am I for all that? Yes. But at the same time, I also know I live in I'll just say I live in Minnesota, and as we're shutting down some of the plants and getting the solar fields, um, we're actually taking up even, let's say, a vast percentage of farmland. I can tell you the farmers are selling out to the solar fields, which means we're producing less food, which means we have to get that food from somewhere else. Correct?
Actually, a lot of the places where they're building solar farms are places where they didn't have farms. Like
No, no, no.
I've
I'm
driven
talking
past.
straight where I live.
Yeah, that's
I can
because
tell you
that's
exactly
because
the
it's more
farms.
cost effective. So it was more
No,
cost
they're getting
effective
they're
for the
getting
farmer. Think about it this way: it was more cost effective for them to use that land to have solar energy rather than specifically through like farming any other type of crop. That's why they're specifically doing that. That's how the market operates, right? If the land is not being used in its most cost efficient mechanism, right, there are going to be people that have a profit incentive to go in and to use that land in a different way.
right. If you're going to pay me $1 million to put a solar field up, sure, I would sell my land. But if you're looking for to better the nation, wouldn't in the long term, if solar fields aren't as productive as the reports are saying, which they're not. I mean, we just look at the California who just shut down one of the largest solar fields around.
Why?
Then it wasn't cost effective. For that stuff was burning out. The
Where? Which solar farm?
what was it called? This was just last year. I mean, just last California. I have to search it up. It's been a while since I looked at it. The Ivanpah, Ivanpah system was shut down. It was a $2 billion California solar plant. It ran for a decade, but it didn't produce the same amount as the cost. So it was very much cost ineffective.
Okay. So that's just one out of all of the other ones, and that was in the desert, by the way.
Right. It's overheated. I mean, what I'm saying is we should use some common sense, right? So there obviously wasn't enough studies done or enough reports done that we said, hey, let's put the solar field in the desert. And it's going to cost the taxpayers basically $2 billion.
So, I just want to let you know the Department of Energy indicates that it's going to be most specifically of the what's it called? It's going to be most of the or not most. It's going to produce a greater percentage of solar in the context of the United States. It's going to be a greater percentage of our energy output, and that's going to be the future. That's the reality because of the fact that it's becoming more cost efficient. Saying that one particular solar farm shut down is not indicative of the fact that it's, like not efficient. We can look at the fact that we've seen it reduce in the context of the price by like 3 to 4 times in the past 10 years, according to the Department of Energy.
Right. So at some point, don't we have to begin to trust our, let's say, neighbors, or so even the one that's building the solar farm here that's very close to me. One of the chairman's leaders, she's an executive in there, and her advice is I would get a generator because there will be power outages as they shut down the. It's a coal plant by where I'm at, and there's a nuclear one close by. But they're saying get generators because there's gonna be. I'm just saying I would like to look at it more, and I think we throw a lot of money at stuff. I actually think on both sides of it. If it's Harris, if it's Trump, I think we waste a lot of government money, taxpayer money,
Yeah, Trump signed
and
off on more
so
debt-related spending, by the way. And if you want to look at these overall, right? I could point to plenty of examples of coal power plants and nuclear, or every single type of power plant shutting down. Okay. Well, I don't know why
mhm.
we would specifically point to one solar power plant and be like, because that one solar power plant underscored in terms of its production of solar because of a reduction in the amount of sun that they would have thought otherwise. They thought there would be more sun in the area than there was in that specific area.
It's also one of the oldest ones, so you would reap the results of that.
What do you mean?
So that's 10 years old, right? And so
Okay.
it was one of the first ones around. And so this is like any study, you'd go to the original, how did this perform versus ones that are just being created now.
Wait, I'm sorry. You wouldn't just look at one, right? Can you
No,
name
but I'm saying all of them. So
what
let's look at
you would
all the
look?
ones
What's
that
the
were created 10
percentage
years ago.
of solar farms shutting down comparative to other types of energy production?
Obviously I don't have that information. I'm just it was just one of the reasons why I see this, and so I'm wondering, are we going to be cost effective in the end? And I have to look to, okay, so when an energy person that works in the energy field that is creating a solar farm is telling me that I should get a generator, should I not be a little concerned?
Wait, what do you? I'm confused. What do you mean? Go back. Sorry.
So if the chairman of the energy building the solar field to replace the coal plant, so this is her job, this is what she does, this is where she works, and she says I would get a generator if I was you because there will be power outages, should I not trust her?
Okay, so you're not. Of course, like I'm gonna understand that there are going to be like a need for batteries, and there's gonna be a need for generators, and there's also gonna be a need for other types of energy production other than solar. We're not saying solar is the only method of energy production.
Okay, right, so we can agree with batteries then,
There are
but that is still
inconsistencies when it.
mining and that is still a natural resource, correct?
Of
I mean, the
course.
lithium, the lead, the nickel.
Wait, I'm sorry.
And
You act like batteries don't exist in our society right now.
no, I'm saying they do, but we're saying we can't do the natural resources because we're gonna run out, right?
I'm
That's what
sorry.
they're saying with the coal.
That's just to store energy. And also, I was giving you plenty of different others in terms of some things that you need to take into account. It's not just solar. We use other different types of energy processes as well. Just because there's inconsistency with solar at different times doesn't mean that we can't offset that by utilizing wind, by utilizing tidal, by utilizing nuclear, right? There are so many different things that we can point to that we could utilize in the inconsistencies with solar and wind that will still
I
allow for it to be
I can
effective.
agree.
Secondly, again, this all takes away from the fact that the
Yep.
regulations imposed by the EPA have a cost benefit analysis that indicates that they have significantly higher benefits than they have costs. So, given that they have significantly higher benefits than they have costs with our overall society as a whole, the idea that they cost more in terms of the regulations or they make our society worse is obviously ridiculous, and it actually makes our society better off and makes us, have more money as a society.
Who have more money?
Everyone, and as our society as a whole.
Hmm. I guess I don't agree with that, but
What do you not agree with? I'm telling you, the cost benefit analysis from the EPA indicated that only two of their regulations, through the context of 2001 and 2016, were estimated to show that they had greater levels of cost than benefits. So that means um, what's it called? 53, right? Regulations out of 55 were better for benefits than they were for costs.
Okay. Obviously, you have it in front of you. I don't. And so, but at the same time, more regulations get in place, and again, I'm not for like reckless abandonment and um, creating bad environments. But at some point, do you believe manufacturing has moved because of EPA regulations to other countries that do not have the same regulations to make stuff cheaper?
So just because other places around the world wouldn't have these regulations doesn't mean we shouldn't have these regulations in place. And if it, like, there were to be manufacturers that go to other places to produce for cheaper, given that is the case that they have to produce it in the country due to these particular safety regulations, that doesn't mean we should get rid of our safety regulations. That's like claiming that we should specifically not have safety regulations on cars so that we can have better production for cars from United States producers comparative to countries around the world, because they'll produce other cars from countries around the world that won't have the same types of standards as what we have here.
Sure. And so, if I mean, you obviously said we need to care about all that in the human. Should we not care about those countries then, or should we not
What do you mean?
allow those countries to produce, and that's why we tariff them, saying don't produce this stuff because you allow less regulations than we allow.
You want to wait? Sorry, say that one more time.
So let's say manufactured a car. Well, you use car as an example, so we'll just say a car, and they produced in a different country because it's less regulations. So should we say that is okay and not tariff the cars that are coming in because they have less regulations? I think some of the EPA reports is it's positive and everything, and you can save more money, but it's
We
because manufacturing is moving
so yeah, we're
or
not
has
gonna.
moved.
So the Paris Climate Accords is how we're going to address it from an international standpoint, and different types of international addresses, right? And you understand that Trump has reduced us from being able to do that. Everyone's claim was always, "Oh, we nothing we will do will matter until China does something," and then China announces they're doing something while the United States is not doing.
Well, I mean, if you believe everything China announces, that's silly. I mean, obviously, and I think America lies themselves on the full report of everything. But I do think we need to regulate if we're going to allow manufacturing to go overseas, and so we can go into the tariff,
Wait, wait,
from the environment.
what do they get from lying about emissions?
What do they give? Just to say that they're a better environment, that the conditions are better. It's.
I mean, Trump doesn't
Why?
even
What would you
believe in
get?
climate change. Why would that matter to the world stage if Trump doesn't even believe in climate change? He thinks it's a hoax.
Are we talking about just climate change or the environment of manufacturing? Because that's
Climate
what we're
change.
talking about. I'm not talking about climate change. I was talking about the EPA's regulations on manufacturing. So if we're switching to climate change, then that's a different thing.
We're going to have
Because we're talking about
environmental
emissions.
regulations to limit the effects of climate change.
Because I personally don't believe that there's the whole climate change thing.
Wait, say that one more time.
I don't believe in the whole climate change
Oh,
to the
you
degree
don't?
that no.
Okay.
So
So you
and I
deny
live in a
the
state that
the consensus amongst climate scientists.
yes, I do.
Okay, so you don't accept science?
I believe science proves to me. I believe some sciences, and I think some don't. So I
So
believe in,
what
like, let's say
sciences
the
do you
science of
believe in? What
biology,
sciences do you not believe?
anatomy. Um, I believe
So
in those sciences
okay,
that
so why do you
you
believe in those
dissect an
sciences
animal,
but
you
not
see the
others?
parts. The environmental, because I don't think it's been proven. I think a lot of it is
It
still
has
in
been.
the
Think of the future
I,
encounter.
I don't
It has been
I don't
proven.
think it has, because you can find equal reports that say the opposite. If we want to look up one subject, then we search it all, and obviously, there are scientists still fighting over the environment change.
Wait, I'm sorry. You understand that 97% of climate scientists indicate that the climate is increasing global temperature, and that it's caused by humans.
Global
That's a
temperature,
fact.
I do believe that, but there's many
That's climate
factors.
change.
There, okay, sure, but it's also have you studied or looked up? We'll go back to solar fields. The temperatures around the solar fields, how much that is increasing. The asphalt's on the road. I'm saying there's a lot of things in play that increases the environmental aspect of it all. When you say humans do it, yeah, we made the
So
roads.
according to science, that has less of an impact comparative to, again, the usage of fossil fuels.
I don't know what you're asking there. I'm sorry.
I said it's been
That last
indicated to
part.
be less impactful towards the temperature of the Earth comparative to fossil fuels. And yeah, like, would you like to address that?
I obviously don't have that. I mean, so if you can tell me what that is, so I can look it up. What you just
You don't have
what
what?
report you're reading from? The report that you're reading that you said 97% of the scientists agree.
Yeah, just look up 97% of climate scientists say that climate change is caused by humans. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, I was just looking up and I was just trying to click the link of the fossil fuels because that's what you quoted, and it has a 404 error, so it won't even show me that part, which kind of drives me crazy. But so I wish I could see that. So I'm on the NASA site. It seems like that's where it popped me up to.
Okay, so the point is, if you accept science, you should not support Donald Trump because Donald Trump literally thinks that the climate's going to start cooling and science just doesn't know it yet. He thinks that Tylenol usage during pregnancy causes autism, which actually all the evidence indicates that there's no association when taking into account siblings and genetic factors. Within the context of a Swedish study, there was 2.5 million people that were looked over who were children specifically for pregnancies where people specifically utilized Tylenol during the context of pregnancy, right? And not, and it determined that it is the case that there is no association between Tylenol usage and during pregnancy and autism.
So based off that statement alone, I shouldn't support Trump.
Yeah, like he doesn't believe in science. He undermines science. I can give other examples. Those are pretty good reasons to not support the guy.
So the whole GOP I should not support because they made I would say false claim because I disagree. I know people with autism. Tylenol did. I guess I just can't. I would need more than one statement that I think is inaccurate. And so, like,
Oh, I can give you way more than that. He said that we should look into utilizing disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19. He said we should look into utilizing nukes to take out hurricanes, right, to limit their effects.
I think we should look into effects of hurricanes. Not I think we should
No,
use
no,
nuclear.
using
I don't
nuclear
know,
weapons to
but
address that. And then he also said that windmills were causing whales numbers never seen before.
okay. But again, he's not making a policy over it. I mean, I make stupid statements. And my opinion is, I think I've heard you make some statements that I would call phallus, but I would have to look that up. I mean, I've like even that last three
How many
debates.
examples could I give you of him lying about science in order for you to stop supporting him?
How many? It would have to be a lot, to be honest with you. If it's just about science, um, I I just look at the person, my next door neighbor. So you talked, and I don't want to switch subjects on you. I'm sorry. Um, so I look around, right? I live in Minnesota. I can tell you where I live in. I live in a very democratic state, right? Obviously, I mean, he was Harris's vice president is my governor, and I don't see the climate change here, right? Right where I'm at, I have not seen it. I lived here for 20, 30 years, and I have not had the climate change.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, my grandpa, who's
yep.
not alive anymore, he was a farmer in Iowa
Okay.
practically his whole life. He noticed the climate changing throughout his life. And I think that
In which
he'd be
way?
more inclined to understand a change in the climate because he was a farmer and relied on the climate to produce crops.
So if I told you, and I'm lying because this isn't, if I told you I was a farmer in Minnesota for the last 26 years and haven't noticed the climate change, you would believe me then.
I would say that that could be representative for the last 20 years where you are, that you haven't noticed much of a change. But I could point to specifically that there's a greater level of change over a longer period of time, given that my grandpa was alive for a longer period of time. It has more than 20 years. Way more than 20 years.
And how would he base that off? I mean, he must have gave you examples if he said it. I mean, obviously, I didn't hear your grandpa say it, right? So I got to trust you, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, you're in a
Wait, but
you're in the
wait,
side
but
that wants to persuade
we're
me,
making anecdotal claims. And that's
right?
also
And
really close to the area at which you are. Like,
I know. I only drive through Iowa. I don't stay there too often. Um, but that's what I'm saying is because I actually don't think we're that far apart in the sense of that, in the sense of what we actually believe in. I actually think you care about people. I know I care about people,
I know.
and so our
I think you're misinformed, and I say that because it's true. I say that because the
wait,
scientists have
wait, wait. You
indicated
say
this
it's
to be the
true that I'm
case.
misinformed?
Yes, you are. I mean, I'm serious. This is akin to someone
I,
saying
yeah.
the Earth is flat. You have just as much evidence for your belief system in terms of how science operates as people who believe that the Earth is flat.
Sure. Maybe I believe the Earth is flat.
Do you? No, you
No, but
don't. Come on.
I do joke about it a lot.
No, but you
I'm.
understand what I mean, right? Like, you would think it's absurd
Hmm.
for someone to believe the Earth is flat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
So then, like,
But
if
even
you have
science
the
have
same
changed.
evidentiary basis as someone who believes the Earth is flat, wouldn't that be absurd?
You're gonna have to say that again because you probably
Wouldn't
used a bigger word that I wouldn't understand.
That's fine. Wouldn't it be absurd, right? If it has the same evidentiary basis as people who believe that the Earth is flat, same basis in evidence.
We're talking about science here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. But I mean, until science keeps going, right? Because I'm going to say something and you're just going to come at me because I know it. Um, I look at science and I look at creation. I'm a believer, and so to me, science always proves creation, right? And so if I was to tell you in Revelations where it says that the earth will be destroyed, it doesn't surprise me that humans are destroying the earth.
Well, I don't accept revelation. I'm not a Christian.
I know you don't. And so that's a level of faith, and that's why I'm saying you would come at me with that. And so, but when I look at science, I see creation.
Yeah,
I see
but
a
like
God.
you're just superimposing that. You're just saying because we exist, that means that there has to be a God. One, that doesn't mean it has to be specifically the God that you believe in. It could be a different depiction of God. It could be an evil notion of God, right? That God could have still caused this universe into existence. And I actually think that that would explain the set of circumstances we're in a lot more than the Christian God, especially. So I don't think that it justifies creation as well, right? Because everything could have existed always, right? And it just shows up in different forms, right?
Well,
Like
I know you're saying. I know what you're saying.
there was a center of mass that always existed, and then from that point, then came every other aspect of reality. So I mean, that's obviously possible. That could be a natural explanation for why we exist. No one
Well,
knows what
that
the
takes just as
explanation
much
is.
faith as
I'm an
me.
agnostic atheist. I don't know what the
Right.
explanation is. The reason why I say that I don't hold the same faith that you do is because I don't believe in any of these positions because I think that I don't have enough reason or evidence to believe in something.
And you also haven't experienced it.
Well, it's not just I mean, I don't think the experiences, are a good argument because
Sure, but if you,
they're not reproducible like in science.
oh, there very much is. I can tell
No,
you of a
it's
guy
not.
that was. I can tell you a guy that was healed of AIDS, HIV, and I can show you the medical
I'm
report
sorry. I'm sorry.
before and afterwards. So are
Yeah,
you saying? So you
Christianity
don't believe a doctor?
Christianity didn't do that.
Oh, it very much did. But you won't believe it. What did it then? If
No.
a doctor says he doesn't know what did it,
Christianity,
what did it?
what makes you think that Christianity did that?
Because I was hands on. I was praying with him. I was the one that was doing that. And so I'm just saying, if the
Okay.
report
Hey
beforehand
dude.
says yes, and
Hey dude.
yeah,
Let's think about it this way. Let's think about it this way. Someone is sick, right?
yep.
They pray to get better. They then the next day get better. Does that mean the prayer caused them to get better?
How would you know?
Exactly. It's an unfalsifiable claim, right? And there are a lot of people around the world that pray, especially before
Yeah,
things that they're going to do. It's very common within our society. So
yeah.
is it possible that something would happen after prayer? Yes. Does that mean that the prayer caused that? No. It just means that people pray a lot in our society. That's all it means. And that when people
But
pray, and it happens a lot, things that are unlikely to occur are going to happen alongside people praying because it's so likely for people to pray. Think about it this way. If 90% of people pray, right? And it is the
yeah,
case that this happens to 0.0001% of people, 90% of the people that it would happen to in terms of the 0.0001% of people, right, would be praying. Does that make sense?
yeah. Oh yeah. I see what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, you just told me that I gotta believe 97% of scientists, climate scientists. But if I showed you the medical report of the day before, the night of prayer, and the day after, would you believe the medical report?
Well, I would believe the medical report said that. Would I believe that the medical report is indicating a fact about like some theological claims? No. I don't think it has anything to do with like theology. I don't think it has anything to do with a God existing. I don't think it,
But what I'm
honestly, I'm going
saying,
to be totally
some
honest. I don't think it has anything to do with the prayer.
I knew where you would come from. I've heard you debate that before, and so that's why I'm always leery to go in there. But I'm saying some of the stuff you believe, I think, takes just as much faith as it takes me. And so, like,
What took
and
faith?
so what
What took faith?
that you, what even that you say your faith or my faith?
What took faith out of all the beliefs I have? Because faith means belief without evidence. What took faith out of all the beliefs that I just said?
When you're talking about there was just a big blob, basically Big Bang, and then all things were created from that.
I said I don't know what the explanation is. I told you things that could be the case.
So you have no belief whatsoever from the beginning.
I have no clue what came prior to the Big Bang.
Well, now you just said before the Big Bang, so you assume that the Big Bang is real.
Well, the Big Bang is obviously true, yeah.
Well, that takes more faith. That takes just as much faith as it does in God.
No,
But
there's evidence for the Big Bang. I can tell you the evidence. You want me to tell you the evidence for the Big Bang?
sure.
Cosmic background radiation photons. You can literally see the afterglow of the expansion of the universe. All the Big Bang is expansion of the universe, right?
Yeah.
So we can actively see that expansion.
Yeah, as it says in the Bible, God is increasing the heavens. So
Well,
you're seeing evidence of God.
no, we're not.
Yeah, you actually are. But we're getting past the point, right?
How
We're
is
not
that
gonna.
evidence
This
of
is.
God? How is that evidence of God, bro?
You're just seeing the heavens grow.
I'm sorry. What makes you think that's the heaven? You think that the planets and the universes and the star systems that exist across the universe, you think that's heaven?
The third heaven, yes.
So space is heaven. So is Mars in heaven?
The third heavens, yes.
Mars is in heaven. Okay. Um, uh,
But I don't want to go into a
wait? I have a
theological. I
question.
didn't.
Is the sun in
Okay.
heaven?
Yes.
So to clarify, the rover on Mars is in heaven.
Yes.
You're
The third
amazing.
heavens.
Wow, the rover on Mars is in heaven. Okay, that's an interesting one. I haven't heard that one before. So, like the satellites that are out in the solar system, that's in heaven, and we're actively looking at what heaven looks like.
Yes. I'm just gonna say yes because I didn't want to get into the
Okay, thank
theological
you.
with you.
I'm sorry,
because
you
we could.
don't believe that, do you?
I do believe it.
Okay.
I
How old is the Earth?
what is it? 6,000 something, 7,000. Yep.
We have human civilization going back further than that.
No,
Yes, we do.
you're getting into a theological argument.
Do
I
you think
am so sorry.
Neanderthals existed? Neanderthals existed well over 7,000 years ago. Okay? 8,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago. You understand that Neanderthals existed well beyond that. And you know that a lot of Europeans have Neanderthal DNA, right? So can you explain to me how a lot of Europeans have Neanderthal DNA? If Neanderthals, right, existed prior to, the creation of Earth?
I I can't. I don't have anything to do with that. I don't know what you're actually saying. So I'm
Do you know what
sure.
Neanderthals are?
Yes. Well, people, the caveman type thing.
Yeah, do you think they existed?
I wouldn't call them that. I would call them humans. But I don't believe the aging of them of what you're saying, however old you think they are.
So you think they're
So
Homo sapien?
yes, I think they're humans.
So then you
I
disagree
don't. I
with
don't believe in
biologists on
evolution.
the classification? Okay. You don't believe in
And
evolution?
no,
Okay.
there's
So do
micro.
you believe in the ark?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that God put two of every single animal on the ark, right?
No.
No?
No, because he put two of some, five of others. Yeah, yeah. You'd actually read Exodus to
Two
know.
of some, five of others. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's
then,
different.
okay, sure. Sure. Do you think dinosaurs existed?
Yep.
Yeah. So did
I
God
think
put
majority of them were.
dinosaurs on the ark?
I think majority of them were in the flood.
Oh, okay. They were killed in the flood. So dinosaurs existed prior to the flood. So humans lived amongst dinosaurs, under your view.
Oh, absolutely.
How come there's no fossil records of that?
Of what?
Humans living alongside dinosaurs.
I Are you got a source for me to say that?
I'm just asking,
I
how come you
I
have
mean, you
no
made that
fossil
point, so
records of this?
I don't know. I've never looked into fossils, so you're saying there is no point, so you would have to have something, right? So if you made that claim, right? I think you say if you make
If
the
I
claim, you got
said
to
that
give
there
me
are no
something.
fossil records that indicate this, how could I provide you fossil records that indicate that? What am I
No,
supposed to show you?
you would have to show me something that says there are none.
You want me? Okay. You want me to show you? Give you like
I'm
a
I'm just
source?
saying, right? I mean, because I'm not a what archaeologist, is that what the ones that study that? So I'm not that.
Yeah. You think
But
that most? You think?
we
Wait. So
got way off subject.
to clarify, you want me to give you a source? Okay, we can go to the Smithsonian, by the way. Right. You want me to give you a source that there's no fossil records of human beings living alongside dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. You know what? I
I know
got
you're
you.
looking it up because I'm looking it up too because I'm just trying to find where you're going with this.
Yes. Yeah.
um,
Right here. Um. Let's take a look at this real quick. It's loading up right now. Give it 1 second. If you'd like to look up usgs.gov, it's USGS Science for a Changing World. Um, yeah, it talks about when dinosaurs existed and when like in relation to
Again, they're
human
going to say
beings.
66 million years ago, right? So we're going to go with a timeline issue.
Okay, so you don't
Obviously,
accept that source?
I don't accept a lot of these sources actually, but I mean, even the ones say
Do you accept the Smithsonian?
on what on carbon dating and all that. I wouldn't. Why?
Uh,
What makes you say I should
no, I'm talking about on
buy
fossil
that?
records, but okay. So you don't
Yeah.
accept. Okay, so regardless of the sources I give you, you won't accept it, even if it's from the Trump administration's governmental sources.
Probably not.
No,
But sure, give it to me.
He wouldn't believe it. Probably not. Okay, you know what? How about this? So is there any evidence of the ark?
I believe there is.
Okay,
It's
really?
in
Where? What's the evidence?
what mountains? I gotta look it up. The guy that. But you're not gonna believe any guy I give you because he believes in God, right? You're not gonna believe any of my sources.
I mean, I would be able to believe the sources if they were, reproducible, if they meet the scientific method.
So Andrew Jones is the one that's a big guy on it. From the East Turkey expedition, is if you Google him right away, he would be first. Where he believes in the
What's his
radars and
name? Wait,
everything.
say his name again.
Sorry, Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones. So,
But we got way off here. I didn't want to talk theology with you because I know where you come from.
so by the way, this isn't evidence of Noah's Ark.
I'm just saying he has the. If you click in and you start seeing his studies on the Noah's Ark and everything
So
about
by the
it.
way, these are natural, like little divots that exist in the mountains in that area. Did you know that? I'm not trolling.
I know what you're saying. I knew. The problem is I know what you're gonna say about that stuff, and so
There's no boat. It's literally just like a specific divot in the mountains that they're claiming is the ark. And
okay.
it's literally just a naturally occurring divot.
So you don't believe in the ark, so we can't go into the ark. But what was ark made of?
Well, what do you think the ark was made of? It depends on your view.
Wood
You think it was just
and
made out of
everything else.
wood? That's it?
Wood and different things to hold it together.
Like what?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. So
I mean,
wood.
obviously,
Okay.
but I'm just
Where did?
saying
Okay. So and how big was the boat?
cubits. I don't know the measurements of cubits. Like I would have to look it up. I mean, you can look it up. Whatever. I'm gonna tell you, I could look it up, and I'm gonna just believe what they say. This is how many cubics it was, and this is how big it was. This is how wide it was, and everything. Your claim is gonna be how could every animal fit on that, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Right. I mean, that's generally where we're gonna go. So, and again, I can't fathom it. I don't necessarily know it all in that realm.
And like what about the animals that rely on eating other animals? Did they just like a bunch of animals and make them go extinct?
No, I don't think so.
So how did they eat if they only eat like how did any carnivores survive?
Um, Maybe that's why you put 5 on. I don't know.
You put
It,
what?
so it's a total of 150 days. Let's say
So that you're saying that
371 days.
they could eat enough so they just like 4 of them in the species or 3 of them. So he brought some species on just to be eaten.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't there, right? So I don't want to make a presumption and then because I know you do a beautiful job attacking any presumptions. So I don't want to make any. But I only can go based off
And I
in
have a question.
my
Were termites on the boat?
because they would eat the wood. I love that. Um, sure. And maybe that's why we can't. That's why you can't see the wood anymore. However, I don't. I understand your argument. I understand all that, but I can't deny the stuff that I've seen, the stuff that I experienced, and I wouldn't be as good as an apologist that knows all this stuff that could tell you the how many years the Bible has been over and written and accurate. I'm not that type of argument, and
Here's my
so
point
my
though.
faith.
Like people claim experiences with a bunch of different religions. How do we know which religion's accurate?
I actually believe the Muslims have experiences. I believe in spiritual experiences. So the accuracy is whose God is more right. Because if you're talking about, let's say, my God versus Muslim and
But if they've
Muhammad,
experienced different religions, how could that be Jesus?
I didn't say they experienced Jesus.
Okay. So
I
then
said there is
what religions
spiritual
are they experiencing?
experiences.
So what are they? What are they? Are they like engaging with angels or demons or?
Angels and demons, I believe heavily in that. Yeah, absolutely.
So you think that they're engaging with angels and demons, and that those are the spiritual experiences, right? So
Absolutely.
every okay. So then, how do you know that you're not having an experience from a demon?
You could absolutely be right, but I can only go based off my faith.
Okay, so then you could have faith in the devil.
Oh, and people do. You obviously know that.
Well, I'm just saying, how do you know that you don't have faith in the devil? Because the devil could just masquerade as an angel of light in order to get you to follow
You
them.
see, you know the scripture.
Yeah. So then, like,
A,
why don't you
a
give a
wolf in
response
sheep
to that?
clothing.
What do you mean a wolves in sheep's clothes? I'm literally. I told you I'm an atheist because I know this. I grew up in a conservative Christian household. I went to church twice a week as a kid.
Oh,
Of
oh,
course, I'm gonna know.
right. And so, yeah, but saying you see, you think people are foolish when they just have a blind faith,
I think it's bad for
right?
society because it is the case that it normalizes believing things with no evidence, which leads to more misinformation becoming rampant.
I
I understand wanting to feel like you have an explanation for like people still living and being able to be like in an afterlife and stuff. I get wanting to feel that it's very comfortable. I get it, and people fall into it because of like how it's normalized in our society. But I don't think it's good reasoning, and I think that that type of reasoning is really really bad for society, and that's why people like watch Fox News and believe the election was rigged in 2020 and believe
and
that
I can tell
vaccines
you, I
aren't
don't
safe and
watch Fox
effective and don't
News.
believe in science and believe evolution is fake. It's like,
I
I'm
don't watch
serious. It's
Fox
like
News.
people believe things without evidence, and it leads to all of those different types of views because people don't look for evidence behind their beliefs because we've normalized believing in things without evidence. Now, like, I want a
The
coalition
thing
build
is,
with like people. I disagree with Christians, but I'm not saying that because I believe that someone's wrong or something, that like I'm not willing to like like them as a person or be their friend or something. I like liberal Christians. I like progressive Christians. I want a coalition build with them, especially in politics. But I disagree with the worldview, and I do think that the underlying bases of believing things without any evidence are prescriptions that are harmful for society and lead to a lot of the views that are harmful on behalf of Trump supporters that we condemn.